Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Rajanana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajanana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Dayara Namadava Kunja Bihari Dayarana Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopirana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Rajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Dayarada Madhava Kunja Bihari Dayarada Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari 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 Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. 1 second. What are we doing? What are we writing on the board? That's the question. Okay. 25, 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now all together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 25, Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill, text number 19. Ityuktva kena hastena Kritva Govardhanachalam Dadara Lilaya Vishnus Chatrakamiva Balaka Ityuktvaikena hastena Kritva Govardhanachalam Dadara Lilaya Vishnu Chatrakamiva Balaka Ityuktvaikena hastena Kritva Govardhanachalam Dadara Lilaya Vishnu Chatrakam Niva Balaka. Ityuvaikena hastena Ladies. Iti. Thus, Uktva, having spoken, Ekena, with one, Hastena, hand, Kritva, taking, Govardhanachalam, Govardhan hill, Dadara, he held it, Lilaya, very easily, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Chatrakam, a mushroom, Eva, just as, Balakaha, a child. Translation. Having said this, Lord Krishna, who is Vishnu himself, picked up Govardhan hill with one hand and held it aloft just as easily as a child holds up a mushroom. Purport. It is confirmed in the Harivamsa that Sri Krishna picked up the Govardhan mountain with his left hand. Sadrita sangato me ger giri savyena panina. With his left hand he picked up that mountain which was touching the clouds. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when Lord Krishna was preparing to lift Govardhan hill, a partial expansion of his Yogamaya potency, named Samharika, temporarily removed all the rain from the sky, so that as he ran very swiftly from the porch of his house to the mountain, neither his turban nor other garments became wet. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanandana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll just take us back to chapter 24 for a moment, leading up to this moment where Krishna lifts Govardhan hill. And here's a summary of chapter 24, Worshipping Govardhan hill. In this chapter, Lord Sri Krishna crushes the pride of Indra by prohibiting a sacrifice intended for him and initiating a substitute sacrifice in worship of Govardhan hill. When Krishna saw the cowherd men busily preparing for a sacrifice to Indra, he inquired about it from their king, Nanda. Nanda explained that the rain given by Indra enables all living entities to maintain their lives, and therefore this sacrifice would be executed to satisfy him. Krishna responded, "It is because of karma alone that living entities take their birth in a certain body, experience varieties of happiness and suffering in that body, and then give it up as the karma pertaining to it runs out. Thus it is karma alone that is our enemy, our friend, our guru, and our Lord, and Indra can do nothing to alter the happiness and distress of everyone, for everyone is tightly bound by his karmic reactions. The material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance bring about the creation, maintenance, and destruction of this world. The clouds give forth rains when they are impelled by the mode of passion, and cowherds prosper by protecting the cows. Furthermore, the cowherd's proper residence is in the forest and on the hills. Therefore you should offer worship to the cows, the brahmanas, and Govardhan hill." After Krishna spoke thus, he arranged for the cowherd men to worship Govardhan with the paraphernalia collected for the sacrifice to Indra. He then assumed a huge, unprecedented transcendental form and devoured all the food and other offerings presented to Govardhan. As he did so, he proclaimed to the cowherd community that although they had worshipped Indra for so long, he had never appeared in person, whereas Govardhan himself had now manifest before their eyes and eaten their offerings of foodstuffs. Therefore they should now they should all now offer obeisances to Govardhan Hill. Then Lord Krishna joined the cowherds in offering obeisances to his own newly assumed form. So, Krishna said, if one thing the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot tolerate, it is pride. It is false pride. Whenever any living being takes great pride, then Krishna will make all arrangements to cut down that pride. And of course, what reason do we have to be proud? Because after all, we are dependent. We are never independent. We are dependent in all regards. For anything we do, it is by the grace of the Lord that we can do anything in this world, and otherwise, or in the next. Otherwise, we are powerless. Purisamrisu, it is said that I am the power in man. So whatever power we have is a given power, which is not ours. We are only borrowing and can be taken away like that. Yes. So therefore, when we take pride in any of our qualities, in any of our abilities, and then we falsely claim them as ours. In reality, such abilities are simply the energy of the Supreme Lord, which He has temporarily placed under our care. That is why devotees are trained to write, like a book, you write under my care, under the care of such and such. Not like this book belongs to me. No. Everything is placed under care. This child belongs to me. No. It's just under your care for a while. So then I'll also read the chapter summary of the next chapter. And so chapter 25. This chapter describes how Lord Indra was overcome by anger when the residents of Raja cancelled his sacrifice, how he tried to punish them by sending forth a devastating rainfall to Vrindavan, and how Lord Sri Krishna protected Gokul by lifting Govardhan Hill and for 7 days using it as an umbrella to ward off the rain. Indra, angered at the disruption of the sacrifice meant for him and falsely presuming himself the supreme controller, said, people often give up the pursuit of transcendental knowledge, the means for self-realization, and imagine that they can cross over the ocean of material existence by mundane fruitive sacrifices. Similarly, these coward men have become intoxicated by pride and have offended me by taking shelter of an ignorant, ordinary child, Krishna. To remove this supposed pride of the residents of Vrindavan, Indra sent the clouds known as Samvartika, whose function is to facilitate the destruction of the world. He sent them to harass the Brajabasis with downpours of rain and hail. The coward community was very disturbed by this and approached Krishna for shelter. Understanding that this trouble was the work of Indra, Krishna decided to smash to pieces Indra's false prestige, and thus he lifted Govardhan Hill with one hand. He then invited the entire coward community to take shelter in the dry space beneath the mountain. For 7 successive days he held up the hill until Indra finally understood Krishna's mystic power and ordered the clouds to withdraw. When the cowherd villagers emerged from beneath the mountain, Krishna put Govardhan Hill back in its proper place. The cowherds were in ecstasy, showing loving symptoms such as flowing tears and bodily hair standing on end. They embraced Krishna and offered him benediction according to their respective positions, while the demigods in heaven rained down flowers and sang the Lord's praises. And so we see how the Lord is correcting the pride of Indra in a very, very playful way. He could have subdued Indra in so many ways. But he reciprocated with Indra. Indra, who was controlling or is controlling the rain. His weapon is the thunderbolt used when he wanted to punish the residents of Vrindavan. He used the natural means that are at his disposition. Since he is a controller of clouds and so on, and thunderbolts, it was natural that he would use these means to punish. Krishna, he could have just humbled his pride in so many ways. He could have done anything. He could have turned him into a mouse if he would have wanted to. But Krishna, instead, he remained within the area of concern of Indra. Indra, the controller of the clouds. So Krishna reciprocated with that and arranged for an umbrella. Okay, you control the rain. Okay, I will arrange an umbrella. And in this way, Krishna was very playful and went along with Indra's arrangement. You send your biggest clouds, all right, I'll use the biggest umbrella. Right? As simple as that. And so Krishna in this way was defeating Indra at his own game, so to speak, right? He says he played his game and then defeated him at his own game. My unlimited power. Do you realize? Do you realize I can destroy the entire universe? You realize that? Yeah. And, you can see how Krishna responded. And so, Indra, pride is not so easy to overcome. A mental adjustment often is not enough. Right? We can take externally a humble position, but then pride will still harass us in so many ways. So, was this medicine enough? When the hill was raised, was Indra free from pride after that? Well, not entirely. Basically, after the hill had been put down and everyone had sort of returned to normal life, Krishna went to have a look at Govardhan Hill, because while Krishna had been lifting the hill for 7 days, Indra was still very, very angry. So riding on his elephant Airavata in the sky, he had just repeatedly hit Govardhan with his thunderbolt, trying to smash it to pieces. And Krishna went to inspect the damage that Indra had done. Right? So Krishna went to look and see how Govardhan was doing. And then, at that time, Indra also came. And Krishna said to Indra, Indra, you are supposed to be a devotee. Right? How could you act in this way that you are trying to kill the residents of Vrindavan? Indra said, I was proud. Yes, but Indra, pride has to be curbed by intelligence. Yes. So pride may be there. Okay, that is the point. But you have to correct that with intelligence. Then Indra said, yes, but I was angry. And therefore I lost my intelligence. Krishna didn't bother to answer. He just walked away. So Indra knew that it's not okay. He is upset, and this may not be the last thing I hear of this. So Indra was very, very concerned. And Indra wondered, what will I do? What will I do to avoid trouble? That was his concern. He was thinking, uh-oh, I went too far. I didn't realize who this boy was. He is the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. What do I do now? I'm in trouble. So how do I avoid this trouble? That is generally the case, right? When a punishment is coming, it's not that we have a change of heart. We just try to avoid the punishment as much as we can, try to slip out of it. So Indra was also thinking in this way. So Indra thought that who could he go to for advice? And he could only think of Lord Brahma. Since Lord Brahma, Pitamaha, is the grandfather of the entire universe. And Lord Brahma is kind of aloof, whereas Indra is involved with the affairs of the universe and taking offerings and so on. Lord Brahma is beyond, and he is performing his own meditation and so on. Some oblations may be offered to Brahma sometimes also, but he is not so much involved as an active demigod managing universal affairs. So Indra thought, let me go to Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma was pointing out, he also remained within the mood of the entire pastime. And he said, you have to understand that why did Krishna lift the hill? Krishna particularly lifted the hill, first of all, to protect the cows. Yes, he's the protector of the cows, so he lifted the hill. So, therefore, what you do is you take Surabhi. You take this Surabhi cow, and you put Surabhi in front. And then you come behind, and then, in this way, you can pacify him. Because when he'll see Surabhi, it will soften his heart, and then you come in behind that. And that Indra thought was very intelligent. It was considering not only like, what will I say, what argument shall I use to convince him? What shall I say to him? What can you say to him at this point? You try to kill. It's not a small thing. You weren't just like, you tried to kill the residents and the cows of Vrindavan. What do you expect now? That words are going to fix this? No. So Lord Brahma came with something much more intelligent. Take Surabhi with you. Surabhi, this heavenly Kamadhenu, is so nice. When Krishna sees this cow, cows are so dear to him, his heart will melt. Once his heart will become soft, then he'll be more inclined to, he'll be in a better mood. Sounds like a good idea. So, subsequently, Indra came with Surabhi. So, the place where this happened is, of course, is known as Govinda-Kund at the site of Govardhan. And there at Govinda-Kund, Surabhi saw Krishna. Now, interesting enough, Surabhi, although a very sweet cow, Surabhi was also not completely innocent. Surabhi was at least not naive. Surabhi, she also took advantage of the situation. And what she did is, as they came before Indra, she starts to bathe Krishna with her milk. So, then it became a whole abhishek, right? So here Surabhi starts worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, with an abhishek. So, yes, Indra joins in, and Airavata, who is his elephant carrier, always carries some water of the Akash Ganga, of the heavenly river Ganges, the Mandakini, and so the water in the trunk of the elephant was there, always carrying some Ganga Jal just in case it's needed. And so Airavata also started bathing Krishna. So in this way, Indra joined in the Abhishek. Then Surabhi started to offer prayers. And as Surabhi offered prayers, then Surabhi said, actually, my dear Krishna, you are the real Indra, the real Lord of the universe, because you are the protector. You are the protector of the residents of the universe. You are the protector of the cows. Therefore, we are installing you as the real Indra. In this way, Surabhi took advantage of the situation. And as Indra is standing there, it's just like it is, and she's establishing him as the real Indra. I mean, this is outrageous. Can you appreciate? Right? But what could he do? Considering the situation was already bad enough, and he didn't want to get in more trouble, so he just stood there with a holy face, like also worshipping Krishna and establishing him as the real Indra. Right? So it was a painful moment, which kind of humbled him a little bit more. Right? So, as we can see, the medicine wasn't administered all at one time. It was also a gradual process of overcoming this false pride. But we see that Indra from time to time, throughout the Bhagavatam, we see that sometimes Indra becomes a little bit proud because of the great powers that are under his control. In the same way, we are human beings, very powerful. Well, definitely more powerful than other creatures. Happens to be so. We can control what goes on this planet. Of course, we mess it up a little bit. So we can just imagine if the world was in a humble state of mind, if all the world population was in a humble state of mind and worshipping the Supreme Lord, then naturally we would respect the arrangements of the Supreme Lord. Then we would not unnecessarily interfere with the arrangements of the Supreme Lord. Then we would not unnecessarily try to change the order of the universe. It is because we rely on our own strength that we're trying to rearrange the arrangement of nature, rather than accepting the arrangement of nature and approaching the Supreme Lord who is behind that nature. Maya jakshena prakrite suyate charam hetunanena kontiya jagat viparivartate. Instead of approaching Krishna, who is behind everything. So we can see that the all the major trouble in the material world is the result of false pride. We can see how the false pride is leading to a mentality where we rely on our own strengths to solve whatever problems there are in life. But the true approach is to rely on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who controls the laws of material nature. When Krishna spoke to Nanda Maharaj and asked Nanda Maharaj, why are you making arrangements for a sacrifice? It was just after the Vedic Brahmanas that had performed the sacrifice, and the wives of the Vedic Brahmanas had given offerings to Krishna Balaram and all that. Just after that yajna was kind of over, now the residents of Vrindavan are also beginning to make arrangements for a sacrifice. And Krishna is asking his father, Father, what is this sacrifice you are arranging? Oh, yes. Okay, Krishna, just let, don't get in the way now. We're busy. And, just watch and let us do what we need to do. No, Father, no, but please let me know. Tell me what sacrifice are you performing? And Nanda Maharaj was too busy. He cannot understand anyway. But then Krishna was kept on asking, and then Krishna says, it's not appropriate to not tell me. After all, I am your son. I'm your close family member, so you should not keep secrets from me. So finally, Nanda Maharaj began to explain, and then he said, well, we are cowherd men, and what are we going to do without grass? Cows without grass is not a great success. So therefore, we will make arrangements for that there will be ample of grass. Indra is the supplier of grass, so we're offering a sacrifice to him. Yeah. And then Krishna started to explain karma mimamsa philosophy, how everything is ruled by karma, and explains that the demigods, they can only give the result of karma. So if you have good karma, then the demigods can award you. If you have bad karma, then the demigods will not give you anything. So it's not the demigods who are looking after us, it's the karma really. Yeah, that's it. The demigods are simply the agents and in control. So, well, is that wrong? That philosophy? Is it like, well, it seems correct. It seems true that the demigods, they are simply following the laws of nature, karma. So, and accordingly, they reward. So, well, it seemed that Krishna spoke good philosophy. However, what Krishna spoke is that karma was supreme. This is known as karma mimamsa philosophy. Karma mimamsa philosophy is not acceptable because karma mimamsa philosophy is ignoring one thing, that behind karma there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in control. Just every living being is taking his birth in a particular situation. Karmana daiva netrena yantur dena patat. It is karmana daiva netrena. It is by karma and by daiva that it is decided where the living being is taking his birth. By karma and by a divine arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So, Maya Jakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam, Krishna, who is the ultimate controller in this world. So, that Krishna left out of the equation, right? And then Krishna said, so he pointed at Govardhan Hill. He said, it's actually Govardhan Hill who is supplying, right? In one sense, that was philosophically a little awkward. I mean, instead of saying it is the Supreme Lord who's really supplying, These demigods, they are not the ultimate. They are simply the representatives, the agents of the Supreme Lord. It is therefore the Supreme Lord you should worship. I mean, that's what we expect he would have said. But he said, no. He took it rather the other direction. He took it away, all the way from the demigods, from anything. And he just said, it's here. Look, the grass is growing on the hill right here. It's not growing anywhere else. Right? So it's the hill that's really supplying it. Let's worship Govardhan Hill. Okay. Now, we understand Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd man, they were cowherd men, I mean, they understood some philosophy, but that also didn't go too far. They were not brahmanas, right, who were would have immediately gone into a debate. But wait, you are saying worship Govardhan Hill, but that is not correct. That they would have said. But the coward man, okay, yeah, makes sense, yeah. So in this way, they did it. But then Krishna showed in his pastimes that actually Govardhan Hill was Krishna. That Govardhan Hill was Krishna. So in this way, indirectly, he took them to Krishna, because at the end he manifested this huge form. This huge form of Giriraj, right, who ate everything and said, Anyor, 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 Anyor. Bring more, bring more, bring more, bring more, bring more. Today, Govardhan-Puja is our favorite festival. There is no fasting. That's always good. I like it very much. It's yes. So it is a great celebration. So now the point that came up, that Govardhan manifested this huge form that came from the hill that started to eat everything. So in this way, Govardhan showed that it was non-different from Krishna. Now we see descriptions in the Bhagavatam where Govardhan is described as Haridasar Varya, or as the greatest of all the servants of the Lord. And it is described how Govardhan is the greatest, how Govardhan is just a wonderful servant of the Lord, because Govardhan provides everything. It is said Govardhan provides green grasses for the cows. Govardhan provides different colored minerals for the cowherd boys, which they use to decorate their bodies. Right, so the cowherd boys, they are dressed up in the morning by their mothers, and they are all decked out. I mean, like fancy clothes, and some jewels and some this and that. They have ornaments. But when they're in the forest, they cover their ornaments with things from the forest, with leaves, flowers, branches, pigments from Govardhan Hill. So they put on different colors of paint and decorate themselves with that. I don't know exactly how, dots and points and whatever they do. Cowherd boy style. And so in this way, Govardhan is providing. Govardhan is providing very nice seating places. In the Gopal Champu, there is a description how there are jeweled slabs on Govardhan. Not just, but just slabs covered in jewels. And there are nice seats there on Govardhan. So Govardhan has nice caves for resting. Govardhan has, therefore, everything for the entire community. Govardhan is providing for all the devotees in all the 5 rasas. For the cows, green grass, for the servants, the paraphernalia that they require for their service. When they need kusa grass, they can take it from Govardhan. For the friends of Krishna, they have again another relationship with Govardhan. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentioned that for those who are in Sakya-ras, right, they can stand on Govardhan. He says no one else. No one can walk on Govardhan because Govardhan is Krishna. But when you are in Sakya-ras, you can. Because when you're in Sakya-ras, you can also stand on Krishna's shoulders. Right? The cowherd boys, they stand on each other's shoulders. No cowherd boy is thinking, I cannot stand on Krishna. When they make a tower to get to the butter and the yogurt, right, which is hanging off the ceiling of the rafters, tight, in ropes, in clay pots. They climb up, make a human tower. And Krishna may be standing at the bottom, and everyone stands on his shoulders. Apparat, 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 big offense. No, not for a cowherd boy. He can stand. So in this way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had that transcendental vision. In the Garga Samhita, the Garga Samhita is a book which has been certified by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as bona fide. And that's significant because the Garga Samhita, it's an extensive book, some 1,300 pages or something. So it's quite a book, right? And there we find an alternative, or let's say an extra dimension, described to the pastimes of Krishna. So there is a description that when the demigods went along with Lord Brahma and Bhumi to the shore of the ocean of milk to pray, that Bhumi had become overburdened by many military phalanxes, and then Lord Brahma prayed, and then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu sent a message that soon he would appear on this earth, and that all the demigods should take their birth in the Yadu dynasty, and so on. Right? So now we have jumped to Janmashtami. And but then what happened was the demigods, they found a tunnel. They found a tunnel, and it turned out that this tunnel was made by Lord Vamanadev when he took his 2 steps. And we remember the universe cracked, and the Ganga, a little bit of the causal ocean, a few drops of the causal oceans came into the universe, and that became the Ganga. So it is said that actually there was a tunnel there. And because the Ganga water was flowing through there, there's a river in that tunnel. Then the demigods found a boat there. A nice golden boat. They got in the boat, they went over the water, and they came out on the other side of Golok. And there they went to Krishna. And they met Krishna, and they asked Krishna directly to come. And Krishna, he agreed to come. But that created like a lot of trouble in the spiritual world, because Radharani was upset. And Radharani said, like, you can go, but I'm not going. I'm not going. And when you go, and I will be here alone, I will die in separation from you. So Krishna got some domestic problems, as you can see. That was certainly one of those situations. So Krishna said, no, you also come. You also come. I'm not going alone. I take you with me. She said, I'm not going. No way. Gosh, now I invited her. First she's upset that I'm going, that she has to stay home. So I say, no, you can also come. And now she doesn't want to come. a typical domestic complicated situation. Anyway, and then Krishna said, why not? Why not? You should come. She said, no, I will not come because I will not go where Govardhan Hill is not present. Because Govardhan Hill is eternally present in the spiritual world. But there, Govardhan Hill is much greater than the Govardhan that we know here. Right? Although it is described here that Govardhan Hill was touching the clouds. Well, nowadays, Govardhan Hill is not touching the clouds. Right? Nowadays, Govardhan Hill is much smaller. But it said at the time of Krishna, Govardhan Hill was so high on earth, right? Govardhan Hill on earth was so high that the Gandharvas, when they were flying in their planes, would sometimes smash into Govardhan Hill if they weren't paying attention. It was a traffic problem, you know. So anyway, that's how big Govardhan Hill was at the time. But the Govardhan Hill in the spiritual world is so much greater than the Govardhan Hill here in the material universe. This one is just a small replica of the original. Anyway, so Radharani said, I'm not going where, Govardhan is not present, where the Yamuna is not present. It was then that Krishna manifested Govardhan and the Yamuna on planet Earth, and how the Holy Dham actually manifested there. And then Radharani agreed to go. So, in this way, in one sense, according to Gardika Samhita, Govardhan manifested in this material universe by the desire of Srimati Radharani, right? By her desire. Then Krishna arranged it. So, as it is said in the Harivamsa, how Govardhan was so high, said some of the reasons why Govardhan became smaller is because Govardhan was feeling great separation. Yes. It said Govardhan just became smaller. When Krishna left Vrindavan, then Govardhan became smaller. So prior to Krishna leaving Vrindavan, Govardhan was much bigger. But when Krishna left Vrindavan, then Govardhan shrunk out of feelings of separation. Also, what was the Muni's name again? Does someone remember? Who was carrying Govardhan? Was it Pulastya? I think so. Is it Pulastya? I have to check that one. I think it's Pulastya Muni. He carried Govardhan, who was the son of the Vindhya Mountains. The Vindhya Mountains are dividing India. They are the border between North India and South India, or between Panchagoda and Panchadravida. The Panchagoda are the 5 northern provinces, and then the Panchadravida are the 5 southern provinces, and the Vindhya are in between. It said for a while the Vindhyas were in competition with the Himalayas, but then Agastya Muni, I think, came and made the and the Vindhyas paid obeisances, and then Agastya said, "Don't get up yet, just wait. I just have to go, I'll be right back." And he never came back. So Vindhya always paying obeisances, so they're smaller than the Himalayas. Well, yes. Anyway, but the Vindhyas produced a child that was Govardhan, and this Govardhan was carried by either Agastya or Pulastya to his ashram, but it had been said, Govardhan will go, but whenever you put Govardhan down, that's where it will stay. And Pulastya, Agastya, got the sage, let me just say the sage. The sage got a call of nature, an urgent call of nature, and there was nothing that could be done. There was no delay. So he stopped for a moment, put Govardhan down, and that happened to be in Vrindavan down. In this way, Govardhan stayed there in Vrindavan for a long time, waiting for Krishna's pastimes to take place. It said Govardhan was already there at the time of Lord Ramachandra's appearance, which is like 1 million years ago, approximately. Because it is said when Hanuman was arranging for building the bridge to Lanka, Hanuman was building it with mountains. And when he came to Govardhan, then he just was about to grab Govardhan and throw that on the bridge as well, when a celestial voice said, "The bridge is completed, we don't need any more mountains." So Govardhan escaped Hanuman's power. Just close. Yes. So, another interesting point is that Vrindavan Dham is quite a large area, right? And, 84 krosas and much bigger than the area of Govardhan. The Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill is just a small portion of Vrindavan. So, and Vrindavan is just covered by cows. When you would come into Vrindavan at the time of Krishna, everywhere you would hear the mowing of cows, everywhere the milking of cows, everywhere milk being churned, just cows and cows and cows everywhere. The Goshala of Nanda Maharaj was enormous, 900,000 cows. And how many cows we have here? 9? Huh? 7. Let's say 9, almost 9. So times 100,000. Can you just imagine? I mean, where would if we had 900,000 cows here, where would they all go? There would be cows everywhere, right? I mean, you'd come into your ashram and you find a cow sleeping in your bed, cows all over. You go in the shower, there's a cow in the shower. Mom, there are cows in the kitchen. There are cows everywhere. I mean, cows. You look out of the window. Moo. Cows. My God, they're everywhere. 900,000 cows. Nanda Maharaj, he has 900,000 cows. And Nanda Maharaj is not the only one who has cows, No. I mean, Maharaj Vrishabhanu has 2 million cows, right? 2 million cows. There's cows all over the place. I mean, then you hear Krishna and Balaram in the morning, they go to the forest, right? And it said they are accompanied by unlimited cowherd boys. And each one of these unlimited cowherd boys has unlimited calves. So if you thought there were cows, count the calves, I mean, there's more calves than cows, you see. Usually, if you don't control the breeding, then you're going to have more kids than parents, right? That's how it is, So there's more calves than cows. So you can just imagine how many there is. And then we have buffaloes as well. In the morning, when the cows come out of the Goshala of Nanda Maharaj, it's like a white river coming out. And then there's another Goshala with buffaloes, and that's a black river, right? And in this way they go to the forest, and it's just cows, cows, cows. Yes. Govardhan, yes, Vardhan means to increase. So Govardhan, which increases the number of cows, which increases the pleasure of the cows. It's all about the cows. So today certainly we are also observing Go-Puja. Along with worshipping Govardhan, we first worship the cows. So first, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmani Taya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. First the cows, then the brahmanas. So what a wonderful culture. Cows before the brahmanas. Not that we could put cows on the Vyasasan, not that. But, we are looking after the cows first, right? Milk from the cows and the yajan, patan, the brahmanas are speaking. So, the importance of the cows is just amazing. And Vrindavan was covered in cows. And how did all these cows, cowherd boys, cowherd men, cowherd women fit under Govardhan Hill? How? Simply by Krishna's Shakti. Mathematically, it was not possible. If you measure it with a measuring tape and you go, the average cow, let's say, is 2 meters long and 75 centimeters wide, times 900,000 plus 2 million times, 2 meters by 75 centimeters. Then if you count that an average bull and cow will have how many calves, times, and we do a complete calculation. Yes, and we just calculate the area that these cows would be taking. I'm going a little with a German accent because I'm doing a calculation. This is the scientific German mind would be tempted to calculate it naturally, right? And if you calculate, you will calculate that it is not possible that these cows could fit under Govardhan. No way. They would have to stack them up. Yeah? So like stacks of cows under Govardhan Hill, right? No. They all fit. This was the amazing thing. And this shows Krishna's unlimited mercy, that they all fit. There is no difficulty in giving shelter to Krishna. Shelter to all the living beings by Krishna. This is amazing. So this is a great encouragement for us, that Krishna can give shelter to unlimited living beings. And that is reassuring to us. So in this pastime of Govardhan, we can appreciate. So I thank you very much for your attention. It will carry on later on. I get very inspired by Advaita Simha's cow shirt. That's nice. His wife has a cow dress. There's lots of cows. Yeah. So any questions, any comments? Yes.
Every morning I thought or wondered that we are celebrating every year Govardhan-Puja, the inhabitants of Vrindavan. I think we're also celebrating every year Indra-Puja, where we're also celebrating every year Govardhan-Puja, because we only hear of one, that's the Leela, worship of Govardhan.
No, after that they were worshipping Govardhan. Krishna instituted that, so that became a customary practice which spread all over Vrindavan. And at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago, so that's 4,500 years after Krishna's appearance, Anakut ceremonies were being held all over, and they were being performed. So when Madhavendra Puri, it is mentioned, installed the deity on Govardhan, at that time they performed an Anakut ceremony. And that was just a common cultural thing to do, Anakut, to make offerings like that, hills, and offer them to Govardhan. Yeah. So the Anakut is a long established tradition since then. Yeah. At least in Vraj. Yes.
And I also did the calculations. Actually, if you calculate 30 kilometers times 1 kilometer, all the cows would fit in there, 3 million cows, plus the same amount of people if each is not moving, it's just standing.
Yeah, but those were not the only Krishna. It's not that Maharaj Vrishabhanu and Nanda Maharaj were the only ones who had cows. Everybody had more cows. So there were many more cows. So they would not have fit. But thank you for the calculation. Good try, but you missed a few cows. Yes. And you didn't count the calves also.
No, I didn't count. I just remember in Varsana, they have a Goshala with, they have 2 Goshalas with 60,000 cows. And if they're all on the mountains, then the mountain is just white. So I just remember a little bit of a glimpse you described.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very nice, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you see 60,000. Well, 60,000 is a town, you know. That's a whole town, right? You think about that, 60,000. I mean, how big is Jansersbrunn? It's not 60,000. 2,000? 3,000, yeah. 60,000. Is there a town of 60,000 nearby? Passau? Yeah, that's a Passau. I mean, 60,000. 60,000 is big. Oh, quite big. All the mountains are white with the cow. Nice. Nice Indian cows. Very intelligent looking. Elegant. Covered with handprints as a sign of loving care. Very nice. Okay, yes.
I was wondering, since Krishna manifested himself like Govardhan, so at the end, even a mountain is Krishna. Can we transform it in everywhere? Like, can we see Krishna everywhere around us?
We can see Krishna everywhere, but it's Krishna manifests himself really as Govardhan. Govardhan is eternally Krishna. It's not that Krishna just took an ordinary mountain and manifested himself from the ordinary mountain. Govardhan is an expansion of Krishna in the spiritual world and then manifests as an expansion here. So Govardhan was not an ordinary mountain transformed. But of course, we can take anything is ultimately Krishna's energy. Right? Anything. There's nothing that's not Krishna. Everything is Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. So we can take Krishna's energy and Krishna can manifest himself within his energy. But Govardhan is particularly a direct expansion from Krishna and manifests like that, eternally. Yes, Professor. No.
Just had the thought that anything can be, but then we have to also invite Krishna actively in, like we can take marble and make a deity out of it and then worship him and ask him to manifest. With Govardhan, then that's not required. The deity, like the Shila, when you pick it up, is already there. It's already finished. So
yes.
I guess that's maybe the difference also.
Yeah, good. Good comment. And okay, we thank you very much, and we'll continue later in the day. Giri Govardhan ki jai, Sri Govardhan-Puja Maha Mahotsava ki jai, Go Puja ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Kadamba, Kanana,